We are covering Week 2 in the NFL here at SBR Forum Videos. I'm Peter Loshak, and we are talking right now with Scott Kellen from SixthSenseSports.com, one of my favorite, and maybe the favorite NFL guest that we have on these shows. We've had him on for a couple years now. Scott, thanks for being here.
Hey, no problem. Thanks for having me, Peter.
All right. So one game you asked to talk about was the Vikings at Colts. Now, I think I'm seeing an edge here. I want to see if you agree with me. The Colts are right now a very small home underdog, 1.5 points. The total is 44. And the Colts, of course, had all kinds of problems last week. They had problems with pressure on Andrew Luck. They've also got Dwight Freeney is now injured for this game. For the Vikings, of course, things are looking pretty good. Peterson's running well. Christian Ponder's looking a little bit better at quarterback. The Vikings, of course, should bring good defensive pressure again. So adding all this up, adding it all sum total, I'm thinking the Vikings, even though they're not a great team, as a road favorite of under 3 points is a good bet. What do you think?
I would agree with you. There's probably two sides or two plays here I may play this week, but I certainly would look at the Vikings first and foremost. They actually qualified a nice early season angle for me. That's 92, 35, and 9, and that basically plays on road teams early in the year in certain situations. It's been a very good system over the years. And then the other side I want to look here is at the over as well. So Indy's offense last week, I think they averaged 6.1 yards a pass, 5.7 yards a play. But on the defensive side, they've been horrendous, and they gave up 8.5 yards a pass to the Bears. Gave up, I think, 6.1 yards a play. Meanwhile, what surprised me with Minnesota last week, I had the under in the game, and I got burned on the under on that long touchdown pass at the end of the game. But Minnesota averaged 9.2 yards a pass last week and 6.7 yards a play. And they were playing a pretty good Jacksonville defense, although Jacksonville was missing their top linebacker and their top cornerback. But still pretty good Jacksonville defense. And Ponder actually looked pretty good last week. And certainly Percy Harvin can make things happen. And Peterson, while probably not back to full strength, still looks pretty good. And Minnesota's offenses, even last year when they were down, has scored a decent amount of points at home in most contests. But they never really reached the 9.2 yards per pass type mark that they reached last week. And I don't see any reason they can't do that against Indy. As you mentioned, Freeney's out for this game. They're missing their best linebacker as well. That defense is not very good at all. They do have some issues on offense, on the offensive line as well. So, that probably only enhances Minnesota's side. But I think Minnesota can score some points here. And this offense for Indy is obviously much better than they were last year with Luck and whatnot. They're going to take their bumps here and probably not win a lot of games this year. But even if they get down by a few points, I think as Luck displayed last week, they can score some points late in the game as well. And Minnesota's defense on the road is not that good. Last year they allowed 24, 22, 39, 21, 45, 24, 34, 26 points. So a minimum of 21 points in every game. And I don't really see their defense being that much better this year. So they're going to give up their share points. I think they can also score against a bad Indy defense. I would look at probably the Minnesota side and the over in this game.
Excellent. And once again, I'm feeling a team total coming into my head. Minnesota team total over. It should definitely be at the lines right now lower than 24. So that's looking good to me as well.
Yeah, I would think so. And, the average point scored last couple of years is about 44 points. So you're looking basically at an average game total here of 44 points.
Right.
And we both know both defenses will give up some points, and the offenses are more than capable, I think.